Hi kids. So today we are coming into the amazing assignments for the same lesson, the first war of independence. Okay, in this we are going to see about in the Sadhana workbook page number 32 and 33. So this is a chart. They have told us to fill the blocks and complete the chart. So the center one is called as a Battle of Plassey. So it is called as a Battle of Plassey. You all know this Battle of Plassey happened in the year 1757. So who was the first person to start this? It was Sirajuddaulah, the Nawab of Bengal. He only started this Battle of Plassey, and it was the person called Robert Clive. He is the colonel from the British who was at that time fighting in the Battle of Plassey. So this war happened, and finally the Nawab got defeated, and they all Robert Clive, finally they started with the British East India Company, which was established, and then the British East India Company, they came out with a new policy. So we are forced to adopt divide and rule policy. The first British policy which came in to rule us was divide and rule policy. So this chart, we have this battle. We are going to talk about this Battle of Plassey, which happened in the year 1757. The first person to start this is Sirajuddaulah. He is a Nawab of Bengal. He fought against Robert Clive. So finally Sirajuddaulah got defeated. They started a company called the British East India Company, was established. From there you all know how the story started. From the British East India Company only all the freedom struggle was started. The first rule we were made to adapt is divide and rule policy. Okay, so this is the first page of this. So let's move on. What we have more in this assignment? Wow, we have to define the terms. So first you have to define the term companies. So usually what is companies? You would say companies is an organization. But what does this companies tell us? It is, yes, companies are the trading centers were called as companies. The trading centers were called companies. These companies bought Indian spices, cotton, textiles and other materials which were sold at higher price in Europe and America. So yes, though the companies means like the East India Company is like a company, they came as a trader, right? They came in, they were trading, these were the trading centers, they called as companies. Okay, so what is a company? A trading centers are called companies. These companies bought Indian spices, cotton, textiles and other materials which were sold at higher price in Europe and America. So second one. The second term is divide and rule. So this was the first rule which came after the British East India Company. We saw in the earlier slide, right? So what does that divide and rule mean? The British used their diplomacy and created disunity among Indian rulers on the basis of caste and religion. So we all know India has plenty of religions and castes. So what they did, when we were all together, the East Indian Company, they started to disunity us. Like how it is, they started to disunity us. So that is why the British used their diplomacy and created disunity among Indian rulers. What? Among Indian rulers on the basis of caste and religion. Okay, moving on to the third point. What is the third thing? Doctrine of Labs. What is Doctrine of Labs? Doctrine of Labs, it is introduced by Lord Dalhousie. The doctrine equipped with an idea to annex those states which have no higher. Means, so the earlier days, there were kings ruling different parts of this country. So if a kingdom, they don't have a son, if they don't have a son of their own, that is, if they don't have a higher, means that part of that country will come under the British rule. This was the major thing which made us, the Indians, to think and fight against the rule. So this is called the Doctrine of Labs. So this is all that define the following terms. I hope you would have written this. Next we will go to the tick the correct answer. The first one, the first Mughal emperor allowed the British traders to establish their trading centers in India. So now comes the start. So who was the first person who allowed the traders to come into India? Was Jahangir. He was a Mughal emperor. After he came, he was the first one to allow the British traders to establish. Now you all think he is a cause for all this freedom struggle. Okay, we'll move on to the next one. Next, trade centers in 18th century were called dash. So what were the trade centers in 18th century was called as? We all know the answer is companies. So we saw that in the defined terms, right? So trade centers in 18th century we called as companies. Number 3, Rani Lakshmi Bai led the revolt in the dash. So who was Rani Lakshmi Bai? She was the person who was against the English people, fighting for it, and where she was fighting in the place called Jhansi. So that's why we call her as Jhansi Ki Rani, right? So Rani Lakshmi Bai led the revolt in Jhansi. Number 4, the Doctrine of Labs was introduced by dash. So we know Doctrine of Labs means when the king doesn't have a own hire, then the part of the country will come under the British rule. Who made that rule? It was Lord Dalhousie. So it was Lord Dalhousie who the Doctrine of Labs was introduced by Lord Dalhousie. The last one. The East India Company was set up in the year dash. So the East India Company was set up in the year 1600, that is 1600. I hope you all enjoyed this session. I hope you have to study it today itself, and it is an interesting chapter we have ahead. Thank you. Bye.